So a new discovery in Antarctica. Researchers find new life under an ice shelf.
Again, it's thousands of feet down. It's probably 4,500 to 5,000 feet down. Yet there was life.
In the heart of Antarctica, a team of scientists lowered a camera into the deepest hole ever drilled through the ice, uncovering a secret that could change everything. Far beneath the surface, in a realm where the sun's rays never touch, they found a community of creatures thriving against all odds. They are waiting for us. Surrounded by a world of ice and shadow, these beings have carved out an existence that defies the harsh, unforgiving environment. What else lies buried beneath the ice, waiting to be discovered? Join us as we dive into the deepest hole in Antarctica to find the strangest creatures that live beneath the surface. Life thriving in the shadows of permafrost. In the cold heart of winter in Antarctica, the sun is a stranger, hiding below the horizon all day and night. When summer comes, it's the complete opposite. The sun doesn't set at all. It's a place of extreme cold, where winter temperatures can plummet between -20 and -90 degrees. This extreme cold reaches deep into the very heart of Antarctica. Scientists there have made a startling discovery. They've found life, a whole world of it, hiding beneath the thick ice of an ice shelf. By sending a camera down into the deepest hole ever drilled in Antarctica, over 1,600 feet down, they've uncovered a hidden world, teeming with life right beneath the Ross ice shelf. This discovery has taken the world by surprise. Hundreds of different creatures live down there in the dark, under the ice. It's a big surprise and leaves everyone asking, what are these creatures? How can they live in such a cold, dark place? We'll dive deep into their world and uncover their secrets. Living under and within the ice in Antarctica is a true test of survival. Creatures here have to be tough and smart to handle the freezing temperatures, the fierce winds, and the near-total darkness for much of the year. Yet despite everything, life thrives here, under the ice, full of energy and variety. One of the key players in this frozen world is the Antarctic krill. These small shrimp-like animals are crucial. They are at the very heart of the food web in Antarctica. Everything from giant whales to seals to penguins depends on them for food. The krill have found ways to cope with the cold, dark ocean. They've developed special ways to live and grow in the icy waters of the Southern Ocean. But it's not just krill that call the Antarctic waters home. There are fish here that have developed incredible ways to survive the cold. They have special proteins that stop ice from forming in their blood, which lets them swim freely in the super cold water. From the large Antarctic toothfish to the unique ice fish, these creatures have adapted to live in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. The ice itself is alive too. It's full of tiny living things like bacteria, algae, and fungi. These little organisms live in small pockets of liquid water within the ice. They're very important because they help with the cycling of nutrients and keep the ecosystem running. Some of these bacteria even make pigments that color the ice a beautiful shade of blue, adding a touch of beauty to the stark, white landscape. Underneath the giant ice shelves of Antarctica, there are secret places called subglacial lakes. These lakes have been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years. Even though it is extremely dark and cold under there, some forms of life have managed to survive and adapt to these tough conditions. Tiny life forms or microorganisms living in these lakes under the ice have shown scientists that life could exist on other cold planets in our solar system. In Antarctica, life isn't just found under the ice. On the surface, despite the freezing temperatures, some hardy plants and animals make their home. Mosses, lichens, and small creatures like insects manage to live in this icy world, where winter temperatures can plunge as low as -112 degrees Fahrenheit. These tough plants and creatures show us that life can hang on and even thrive in the most extreme conditions. One of the most well-known animals from Antarctica is the emperor penguin. This bird is the largest kind of penguin, and it's special because it lays its eggs and raises its chicks during the Antarctic winter. Despite the bitterly cold weather and strong winds, emperor penguins gather in big groups to stay warm. They rely on their thick, fluffy feathers to keep them warm in the freezing cold. Life in Antarctica, both under and on top of the ice, shows us that life can exist and even do well in really tough conditions. From tiny bacteria to huge icebergs, the living things in the Antarctic are examples of how life can keep going and adapt to extreme cold and darkness. Scientists keep studying this icy place to learn more about how life can survive in extreme places, both on Earth and in outer space. An amazing thing was found deep under the ice of Antarctica. Scientists found a secret world inside an underground river hidden under 1/3 of a mile of ice. This discovery was made by brave scientists from New Zealand who went on a dangerous trip to explore what was under the ice. When they sent a camera down into the cold water, they found a group of small sea creatures called amphipods, which look a bit like tiny prawns. These creatures were living in the freezing water under the ice. Finding these small animals showed that there is a whole secret world under the ice that we knew nothing about before. This has given us a new look into a place hidden from human eyes until now. As we look closer at this icy world, we find more surprises. Let's dive deeper into what's hidden below. Massive worlds hidden under the thick ice. Under the huge floating ice part, called the Ross Ice Shelf, which is the biggest one on Earth, there's a hidden world. This underground area shows how life can hang on and change to fit into really tough places. But finding this hidden place isn't just cool because it's like something out of a story. It's also super important for understanding how the warming world is affecting the delicate natural places in Antarctica. People who study the Earth have been guessing for a long time that there might be lakes and rivers running under the ice in Antarctica. They saw hints of this in pictures taken from space that showed areas under the ice near where the ice meets the land that might be full of water. Now, because of this amazing find, they know they were right. This has started a whole bunch of new studies and research. Finding this hidden world under the ice is a big deal for scientists. It's like they've just been given the key to a secret door, and behind that door, there might be all sorts of answers. They're reminded that the places where life exists on our planet are very special, and we need to take care of them so people in the future can see them too. Drilling down through the ice was a huge adventure. Led by a smart rock scientist named James Smith from the British Antarctic Survey, a group of brave explorers set out to go deep into the very cold heart of our planet. They had one simple but very brave goal: to drill through the ice of a place called the Filchner-Ronne Ice Shelf to see what's hidden underneath. These explorers used a special tool that heats up water to melt through the ice. This tool was made at Victoria University of Wellington. They had to drill through 1,640 feet of ice, which needed a lot of skill and careful planning. It also took a lot of courage and a strong will to keep going. When they finally got through, they found a world that was completely dark and mysterious, a place no one had ever seen before. Even with all the challenges they faced, they kept going because they knew something amazing was waiting for them below. This journey into the unknown wasn't just for them. It was a step forward for everyone who wants to understand our world better. When the exploration team got to the secret passage under the ice, they quickly set up their special tools. One of these was a very clear camera designed to capture the hidden wonders beneath the Earth. What they saw amazed everyone. At first, the camera only showed blurry bits floating in the water, looking like tiny pieces of dirt moving slowly. But when they looked more carefully, the scientists realized these weren't just bits of dirt. These were actual tiny living things dancing around the camera in an incredible display of underwater life. Among them were small creatures called amphipods, similar to tiny shrimp, which are used to living in the ice-cold waters of this underground world. Discovering these shy animals showed the team that this secret river was full of surprises. Craig Stevens, an expert on the ocean from the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research, explained that the sheer number of these amphipods was a clue to something bigger. It hinted at a complex system supporting life, something that needed a lot more looking into. The team spent many days there, taking samples of the water, watching how these little animals behaved, and studying the information from their tools. Their hard work painted a picture of a complicated and rich web of life that had managed to adjust to living in one of the most extreme places in the world. As the days turned into nights, the team barely felt the passing time, absorbed in their fascinating findings. The environment under the ice was cold and dark, unlike anything most people could imagine. Yet, here they were, uncovering secrets of life forms that had made this unlikely place their home. The amphipods were just the start. The water samples contained hints of other life forms, each adapted in unique ways to survive the cold, the pressure, and the darkness. The researchers documented everything meticulously, understanding that each discovery was a valuable piece of the puzzle in understanding life's adaptability. As they collected and analyzed more samples, they began to see patterns and connections, the invisible threads that tied this hidden ecosystem together. They learned how these creatures found food, how they survived, and how they might even affect their icy environment. But the journey was far from easy. As the team went deeper into the icy wilderness, they faced the toughest parts of nature in Antarctica. The cold was more than just cold, it bit into their bones. They faced snowstorms that didn't seem to end and had to deal with the tough conditions of living in one of the most unfriendly places on Earth. But they kept going, driven by a strong desire to find out what secrets were hidden under the thick ice. Their hard work and determination started to show results in unexpected ways. Deep down in the dark, cold bottom of the ocean, they stumbled upon a single rock. This wasn't just any rock. It was like finding a tiny piece of Greenland in the middle of a vast Isai desert. This discovery made them stop and think. It challenged what they believed could exist in such a cold, harsh place. Watching this, Smith and his team could hardly believe their eyes. Their mission had started with the simple aim of finding some ocean-bottom dirt, but now they had found so much more. It turned into a powerful story about how strong and stubborn life can be, and the endless mysteries nature holds. There, in the endless icy lands of the Antarctic, they found something more precious than any metal or gem. They found a sign of the endless possibilities that exist for those bold enough to seek them out. This discovery was a spark of hope, a hint that even in the coldest, loneliest places, there can be surprises waiting. And as they moved forward in their exploration, they understood that the biggest surprises were still ahead of them. A new mystery comes from the deep ice. See what else we can find in the icy deep. The Frostbound Haven. In a very cold, ice-covered part of the world, there's a single large stone that sticks out from the ice all by itself. This place is really cold and empty, but surprisingly, this stone supports a lot of different living things. A man named Smith, who loves exploring new things, found this special stone during one of his trips. He had no clue that stumbling upon this stone would reveal so much life hidden in a place where you wouldn't expect to find anything alive. Smith showed the video he took of this stone to his workmate, Hugh Griffiths, who works at a place called the British Antarctic Survey. This made Hugh very curious, and he decided to study the stone more. What he found was astonishing. The stone was covered with a layer full of tiny life forms, creating a carpet of life in this cold, empty space. There were tiny creatures that looked like sponges and others with long stalks, all managing to survive in the freezing temperatures of the Antarctic. What confused the scientists the most was how isolated this stone was. It was far away from any sunlight, surrounded by thick ice that couldn't be crossed easily, and nowhere near any usual sources of food. Yet, against all odds, life was thriving here. This baffled people all over the world. Hugh, who wrote about this stone in a science magazine, said that if you didn't know better, you would think the stone was just a regular, boring rock. But knowing where it is and seeing all the life it supports makes this stone incredibly important and surprising. Even without sunlight and being so far away from everything else, life on this Antarctic stone doesn't give up. This shows how nature can keep going even when things seem really tough. Deep-sea life forms are used to living without light, but not having enough food is usually a big problem. In most parts of the ocean, there's something called marine snow, which is like food that falls from above to feed the creatures living at the bottom. But this food doesn't reach the lonely stone in Antarctica. The living things there have to survive on the small amount of food that occasionally comes their way, which makes their home a difficult place to live. Hugh talks about how these creatures living on the Antarctic stone are really good at dealing with tough situations. They can't just move to another place to find food, so they have to survive with whatever little they get. This makes their existence very unusual, because they manage to live in conditions where you'd think nothing could survive. Their ability to keep going in such a harsh environment is a powerful example of the resilience found in nature, showing us how life can find a way to continue even in the most challenging conditions. The mysterious and isolated rock in Antarctica stands as a powerful symbol of nature's incredible ability to create wonders and provoke our curiosity. Just like life can sprout in the dark depths of the ocean or in the towering cold mountains of the Himalayas, it somehow manages to bloom in the most unexpected places. Scientists keep unraveling the mysteries of Earth's most hidden spots, and with every new finding, they peel back the layers of the complex web of life that exists on our planet. Thinking about the strong-willed life forms braving the harsh conditions on Antarctica's isolated rock reminds us all that we have a big responsibility. We need to look after and protect the delicate natural systems that keep our world alive. From the deep blue seas to the icy stretches of the Arctic, every part of our environment is precious and deserves our care and respect. The big question that comes from studying this lonely Antarctic rock and the surprising amount of life it supports is, how do these tough creatures keep going in such a tough place? This question stirs up a lot of curiosity and pushes scientists to keep exploring the cold mysteries of this frozen land. The more we learn about the harsh conditions of Antarctica, the clearer it becomes that the secret to survival there lies in the cleverness and flexibility of the local wildlife. From the tiny life forms creating mats on the rock to the organisms shaped like sponges hanging on for life, each one has come up with unique ways to deal with being cut off and having so little to live on. Yet what exactly keeps them alive remains a puzzle, pushing experts like Hugh Griffiths to uncover how these creatures get their food in the freezing Antarctic waters. Although marine snow is a crucial source of food in many parts of the sea, its absence in the Antarctic challenges the survival of creatures living in the deep. How these beings endure, cut off from the lively upper ocean layers, with almost no constant food supply is intriguing. Some scientists think these Antarctic life forms might depend on alternative food sources like chemical processes or tiny cold-loving microbes for nutrition. This idea challenges our understanding of survival under extreme conditions and drives further studies into the icy secrets of Antarctica. Our journey of exploration and discovery keeps pushing boundaries. Every new piece of information helps us better understand how life adapts and persists in the most severe environments on Earth. From unexpected finds to detailed studies, every part added to our knowledge highlights the incredible ability of life to withstand tough conditions, offering new insights into the resilience and versatility found in the natural world. Under the quiet ice, life hangs on in the tough cold. Discover how these creatures make it in the deep cold. The surprising survival of sponges in the ice. In the extreme cold of Antarctica, where everything seems frozen and lifeless, a team of daring explorers has stumbled upon a world that challenges what we thought was possible. Deep under the sea, hidden from the world above, lies a bustling community of creatures surviving against all odds. This astonishing discovery came to light when scientists lowered a camera into Antarctica's deepest pit, revealing not a barren wasteland, but a thriving ecosystem. But how do these animals live in such a cold, harsh place? The answer involves the complex movements of ocean currents that bring just the right amount of food and warmth necessary for life. At the heart of this underwater mystery is a lone rock, a small island of life in the icy expanse. Here, communities of sponges and other mysterious sea life have captured the attention of people all over the world. Yet without the means to closely examine these creatures, scientists can only guess at how they manage to survive. Some believe that many sponges filter tiny bits of food from the water, while others might actually catch and eat small creatures that float by. This surprising possibility has caught the imagination of researchers like Christopher Ma from the Smithsonian, who finds the adaptability of life in such desolate conditions incredible. He jokes about the idea of killer sponges in such a cold, dark place where you wouldn't expect anything to live at all. Yet, this undersea community raises more questions than answers. The area around the rock lacks mobile creatures like fish or crabs, leading scientists to puzzle over the food chain. How do these creatures eat? Is there a shared source of food, or are they somehow dependent on each other for survival? These questions highlight the need for further exploration to unravel the secrets lying in the icy depths below. Despite the many unknowns, one piece of the puzzle is clear. The area around the rock has very little sedimentation, meaning these unique creatures aren't at risk of being buried under sand or mud. Lead researcher Griffiths thinks of this as a stroke of luck, a Goldilocks situation where conditions are just right for life. The rock provides just enough of what these mysterious beings need to keep going without being overwhelmed by sediment. This delicate balance allows the hidden residents of this frigid world to continue their secretive existence. As the scientific team delves deeper into their research, they start to notice small clues that hint at how this secluded group of creatures gets its food. They see patterns in the mud around them, created by constant moving water, which suggests that food might be coming from far away to reach this hidden spot. But this brings up a big puzzle. How did these creatures that can't move end up living on this far-off rock? The scientists are tossing around a couple of ideas. Maybe these animals slowly moved from one rock to another nearby, gradually spreading out over the area. Or it could be that their ancestors were carried a long way from other parts of the ocean, caught in the strong flows of water that sweep across the Southern Ocean. They're also curious about how old these creatures might be. Antarctic sponges can live for a really, really long time, which means this spot might have been home to life for many years. Finding this one rock full of life makes the scientists wonder if it's just a one-off, or if it hints at a bigger picture. Antarctica has huge ice sheets covering over 500,000 square miles. This means there could be lots of other hidden spots with life under the ice. But even though this place is so big, the scientists have only checked a tiny part so far, just about the size of a small sports field. This small look into Antarctica's hidden worlds suggests there might be many more secret places full of life waiting to be found. As the research trip wraps up, the team has more questions than they started with. But there's also a feeling of excitement, a buzz about what they might find next. Life is hanging on in Antarctica, despite the freezing cold and endless night, showing how tough and adaptable nature can be. Everyone is waiting to see what new discoveries future expeditions might bring. The strange life hiding under the icy waters holds clues to understanding how creatures can survive in the harshest places on Earth. But there's more to the story. The way Antarctica's ice affects the world has become even clearer as researchers study this frozen wilderness. They've found that the water under Antarctica isn't just one big pool. It's more like layers in a cake, each moving in its own pattern. It's as if, when you look down, you see several rivers all flowing different ways under the ice. This shakes up what scientists thought they knew about the water under the ice and adds a whole new layer to the mystery. Each layer of cold water tells its own story of life and risk. Let's see what life is like and what dangers are under the Antarctic ice. The devastating warm water problem. In the deep sea, the layers of water are sorted out in a special way. They're not jumbled up without any order. Instead, they're neatly separated by how warm or cold they are, and by how salty they are. Imagine you have a bottle filled with layers of oil and vinegar for your salad. Just like oil and vinegar don't mix together, the different layers of seawater don't mix well either. This setup creates a vibrant underwater world, bustling with different forms of sea life and plants. But it's not as perfect as it sounds. Some layers of this water are quite warm. This warmth isn't good news, especially for icy regions like Antarctica. These warm water layers can cause the big ice shelves to start melting, which is a big problem for the chilly world of Antarctica. The scientists studying these waters can't help but marvel at the stunning and complex life forms they find. But they also know that this underwater world is very delicate. It's as if they're walking very carefully on a thin wire high up in the air. One small mistake could ruin everything. Just as they start to think they've seen it all, nature surprises them again. Far away, about thousands of miles in the South Pacific, a volcano called Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai erupted with a loud boom. The shock from this eruption traveled all the way to Antarctica. This caused changes in the underwater world there, moving the water around in ways it usually doesn't. This event serves as a loud reminder that our world is all connected. Something happening far away can still affect the delicate balance of life in Antarctica. Despite all these challenges, the scientists keep going. They're filled with a sense of wonder and excitement with each new discovery. Every new piece of information they uncover brings them a step closer to understanding the hidden mysteries beneath the icy surfaces. They know their adventure is nowhere near finished. There are still so many secrets waiting to be uncovered, like hidden treasures waiting to be found. And with each new piece of knowledge, they feel a deep sense of duty. They know it's up to them to look after this fragile underwater world. They want to make sure it's protected and preserved so that future generations can also experience its beauty and wonders. The journey the scientists are on is a complex one, kind of like trying to solve a big puzzle when you don't have all the pieces. Yet, they're not giving up. They're determined to figure out everything, no matter how hard it is or how long it takes. They believe that to truly understand our world, we need to understand the secrets hidden beneath Antarctica's icy waters. The problems we're facing with the Earth getting warmer are becoming more obvious every day. Griffiths, the leader of the research team, is really worried. He says that global warming could cause huge parts of Antarctica to fall apart. If this happens, we'll lose a world under the ice that's like no other. The danger of these giant ice shelves breaking apart is a big deal. It would affect not just the animals and plants living in Antarctica, but also people and creatures all around the world. In this cold, remote place, life hangs in a delicate balance. As the Earth gets warmer, the ice that has always been there starts to melt. The strong, cold base that supports the massive ice shelves is getting weaker because of all the changes in our climate. The situation is very serious. If the ice shelves collapse, it could be disastrous. It's not just about losing a place for animals to live. The whole Earth could feel the effects. The creatures that have made their homes on the Antarctic ice have spent thousands of years getting used to living in one of the coldest places on Earth. But now, they might not be able to keep up with how fast things are changing because of global warming. The scientists looking into these unique creatures are racing against time. If the ice goes away, we lose not just the animals and plants, but also our chance to learn about them and their home. Imagine a world where the vast ice shelves of Antarctica no longer exist. This isn't just a loss for scientists or the few species that live there. It's a change that could ripple across the globe. The melting ice could lead to higher sea levels, affecting people living on coasts everywhere. The unique animals and plants that have adapted to the extreme cold could disappear forever. Deep under the ice of Antarctica lies a world filled with wonders, a unique place that can teach us a lot about our Earth and the complex network of life that it supports. This hidden world is like a giant puzzle, helping us understand how everything in nature is connected. But there's a big problem. The ice is melting. As it melts, we're losing the chance to learn from this special place. It's like trying to read a book as the pages disappear. Researchers are finding it harder and harder to study this area because the melting ice acts like a giant wall, blocking our way to new discoveries. Time is slipping away from us. Imagine a huge rock stuck under a lot of ice. That's like the knowledge we're trying to reach. But as the Earth gets warmer, the ice holding the knowledge gets thinner and thinner. The opportunity to explore and protect this amazing environment is getting smaller as the planet gets warmer. We're heading towards a time we can't predict, and with each extra bit of warmth, the chance to act is getting smaller. Global warming isn't a problem that's waiting for us in the future. It's happening right now. It's affecting not just faraway places and future generations, but the cold, remote areas of Antarctica today. This is threatening the animals and plants that call this icy land home. Have we uncovered all there is to know about Antarctica's hidden world, or are there still secrets lurking in the icy shadows waiting to be discovered? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.